Today I'm going to be going through a carburetor on a Yamaha Kodiak 400. I had purchased a K&L Carb Kit online, and I chose K&L because of the quality that they typically have. There's a lot of knockoff, unbranded gasket kits or carb kits that you can use that you're going to be spending anywhere from $5 to $25, and a lot of those just don't have the quality. Check out my channel. I've got videos on the difference between some of those quality of carb kits and those carburetors that we've gone through, and put those side by side with the genuine carburetors and the genuine kits, and just showed you the difference between the two. This one here is a K&L kit. I'm just going to be going through and installing and going through and cleaning this. I've done separate cleaning videos on this carburetor, but this one here, I'm just going to install this kit. So open it up here. You've got your part number there. Shows you where it's produced there. It's a Ziploc bag, so which is very nice, because if there's parts in here that you don't need or you don't use, you can actually take and Ziploc them back up and reuse them at a different time. For instance, there's a lot of these Phillips screws that we're not going to use because these are in good condition. I can go ahead and throw those back in the Ziploc bag there and reuse these later. So I'm going to actually set these aside. The main thing that we need right now, and the main thing that a lot of times you need when you purchase a carb kit, is this needle valve here along with this gasket. So I've got this carburetor here that's ready to be taken apart. You've got 4 Phillips screws on the bottom here. You can go ahead and remove these screws. Keep in mind which one your idle screw or idle adjust knob is at. It's a little bit longer screw. And pull those off of there. And it's got a washer on that one as well. You can pull the cap off there. There is your pilot jet is down in here. You've got your main jet. You've got your secondary main. Here is your float and your needles underneath of there. And your needle valve seat is underneath of there as well. So we're going to loosen up that Phillips. We're going to take and push that pin out. And you don't have to pull that Phillips all the way out if you don't want, but take and remove that. You can see that needle valve there. It's got some grooving on there, not completely uncommon, especially after some time. Our main concern here, our main issue here, is that this valve here is actually squared off. That happens a lot of times after a lot of use, and nothing you did wrong, nothing you can do about it. That just happens over time. So go ahead and remove this Phillips screw that holds that valve in there. That's a very, very small screw, so just set that aside. Be careful with that. Now what I do is take small pliers then, and you can actually just pull this out and pull it out just like that, and that is your needle valve there, or your needle seat there. People call it different things. Take and make sure that that's cleaned out really good. Your new one should come with an O-ring. If it doesn't, make sure you reuse that. If you order a K&L kit, it will come with an O-ring. Thing that I like about K&L kits and some of these more popular brands is these right here are going to be quality. The orifices are going to be the correct size. A lot of times with the unbranded aftermarket or the unbranded knockoff kits, a lot of times they'll make these just a universal size, and that could potentially allow too much fuel or not enough fuel into your four-wheeler, into your carburetor, and not allow it to run properly. Next, we can take and remove this O-ring here. And if you're replacing it, obviously you can just take anything and pry up on it. Try not to hold it over that carburetor there, because I don't want to get these rubber pieces down in there. I'm actually going to take a compressed air, blow this out, since we've been doing some work on it here. And then also take this area, clean it up really good to make sure there's no debris sitting in there. Then we'll take and install this O-ring here. Taking compressed air, blew all that out there. Now we've got your needle valve here. What I'm going to do is take a little bit of lubricant, just put a little bit on my finger, because you don't want very much at all. And all I'm doing here is getting a little bit of some kind of lubricant on there to help slide that in, to help that O-ring seat properly. Slide it down into place there. And then we've got our screw that we can run down, hold that in there. Again, this is very, very small, so be really careful with this that you don't get it started in there crooked. Make sure it seats properly. Snug that up. You don't have to really crank on that small screw there. It's very, very small. It could be damaged very easily. We'll take our needle valve there, set that aside. We're not going to use those two anymore. We'll take our float here, slide our pin on. It doesn't matter which side you put that valve on, which direction. That wire's right in the center there. Take and slide that into place. Slide that pin right where it needs to go there. I like to hold it with my finger here until we get that screw snugged up. And again, you don't have to crank on that a whole bunch either. Take our O-ring here. If you've gotten Carb&Choke cleaner or fuel on this O-ring, what I would do is take and set it in a windowsill until it gets completely dried out. A lot of times these seals, when you do get something on there, they expand and they are hard to get into place there. If you just can't get it just by push on it there, what I like to do is take a little bit of grease and just enough to get it sticky. I'll take and set it into place there. Like I said, you don't need much. I just take my finger then and just rub it around that area there so that just enough to get it sticky. Make sure you wipe your hands off. You don't want grease inside of that bowl there. Because that O-ring is on the small side there, I'm actually going to take that carburetor, set it right down on that bowl there. That way I don't have to tip that bowl upside down. If you have a gasket that's staying in there and you're not having that issue with it popping out, you don't actually have to do that. You can just take and flip it upside down, set it on there, but sometimes they don't go on there as easy as you'd hoped. We'll take and put these 4 screws back in. I'm going to put 3 in there, and then I can take my hand off this bottom bowl here so that I can put that idle adjust screw into place there. Take and snug these up. If you want, you can test it before you actually put it on the four-wheeler to make sure it's shutting that fuel off. Make sure that float is functioning properly, that needle and seat is working properly before you actually put it on the four-wheeler there. Washer, then that mounting bracket, and run that screw through there. All right, then we'll snug this up, and that is a K&L Carb Kit for the Yamaha Kodiak 400 carburetor. If you've got questions or comments, make sure and leave those below. If this video has been helpful, make sure you subscribe. Check out hundreds of our other videos on the Yamaha ATV and other makes and models. Thanks for watching.